Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. We are thrilled that you are joining us to hear about how to master video interoperability with Skype for Business and Office 365. My name is Laura Marks, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, Adam Jacobs and Takeshi Ishimaru, and we are really happy to be with you today. Video interoperability is on everybody's minds, and we're hoping to answer some questions that you have and share with you some very great solutions to really meet the video interoperability needs that are out there today. While we are about to get started, please feel free to ask questions as we go. There is a Q&A widget at the bottom of your screen. We have people standing by to answer your questions live. As time permits, we will be answering some out loud, and if for some reason we do not get to your questions, we will follow up with you after the webinar and send you everything that you need. You will be able to get a copy of the slides and also a recording of this webinar should you have colleagues that would like to listen to it afterwards. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to cover a little bit of a snapshot on Polycom and Microsoft. We have a lot going on together, and we have a very deep history that we are bringing to bear with some of our newest solutions. Then we're going to really dive into the topic at hand. What is video interoperability? Why do we need it? What are the requirements from the end user side? What are the requirements from the administrative side? And how can we really solve some of the inherent challenges that we have in the market today? And then we're going to close with some information on some strategies by leveraging the Skype operations framework, a methodology that Microsoft has put forth for ensuring a successful deployment to the cloud. So let's start by taking a look at Polycom and Microsoft at a glance. Polycom and Microsoft have been partnered for over 14 years now. The relationship really is based on development and engineering strategy and marketing and sales, and really built around a joint vision of delivering the best end-to-end collaboration experience. We have an alliance that has really brought to bear some firsts in the industry. Polycom was partnered with Microsoft when they launched the services around Office 365, and since then we have built out an entire portfolio of voice and video solutions to meet the needs of Skype for Business on-prem as well as Skype for Business online as part of Office 365. What really sets Polycom and Microsoft's alliance apart from other players in the industry are really built around three core pillars. And these pillars are built on philosophy, and they're also built on practice. One is the breadth of devices. Polycom believes that different organizations and different use cases require different needs to be met with different types of solutions. For that reason, Polycom has created over 40 solutions to work with Skype for Business. Based on the innovation that we have across the entire portfolio, we have become the #1 provider of Skype for Business IP phones across the world. And we have created best-in-class solutions across the video and voice portfolio. The second pillar is really about the integration and the interoperability, and this is where we're going to focus today. We have firstly created and directly integrated our solutions across voice and video into the Skype for Business and Office 365 platforms. And for those solutions that can't directly integrate into Skype for Business, we have created the only Microsoft-supported and certified video interoperability solution. And that comes in a couple different flavors, and we're going to get into it in a minute. And then finally, the years of expertise that Polycom has is really bringing to bear the best-in-class solutions that for you customers and for you partners that are on the line are really going to deliver what you need to ensure a successful user experience. So at a glance, we have solutions across voice, video, and interoperability, all of which are supported by the Skype operations framework, a set of solution services in order to ensure that you have a successful migration to the cloud and that all of your solutions work to the best of their ability. So let us get started right now by warming up with a poll question. So if you look on your screen, this is your time to participate. We want to know what your biggest challenges are with video meetings. So take a look at your options here. You can choose more than one. So is it your conference rooms don't connect to other systems, video systems are too complicated, you are worried that your conference rooms are underutilized, maybe your deployment of infrastructure is too complex, maybe it's too costly or expensive, and if you don't use video currently, please check that as well. So I'm just going to give you all 1 minute to take a look, talk amongst yourselves if you're in a conference room sharing a screen, and then we'll quickly tally up the results and jump into it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's just take a look at what we have. Thank you for everybody who participated. So the number one answer is that your conference rooms don't connect to your other video systems. So that's perfect. That's probably why you're on the call today. So we thank you for that. Let's see some of the other top answers. The infrastructure is too complicated or too expensive, followed by video systems in and of themselves are too complicated, and then the underutilization of conference rooms. So thank you very much, and it looks like the vast majority of those on the call are using video today. So excellent. So before we jump into interoperability, I just want to give a quick anecdote of a customer of ours, TransUnion, that is using RealConnect to bring together Polycom devices and Skype for Business. So TransUnion really is committed to creating a workplace of the future for their employees and ensuring that with the workplace of the future as the backdrop, that they deliver the best solutions and services to their customers around the world. And so as part of that strategy, they have standardized on Skype for Business across the board. So everybody is a Skype for Business user, but they already had an entire portfolio and architecture of Polycom solutions across the company. And they did not want those investments to go to waste, that people were using them constantly, especially in the conference rooms, and they were really trying to figure out the puzzle of how to bring those conference rooms into the Skype for Business meetings. And those conference rooms were also immersive telepresence. And so with the help of Polycom, they deployed RealConnect and were able to bring all of those solutions together and enable all of their users, whether they're joining from a Polycom system in a conference room, their executives coming in on an immersive telepresence room, or someone from his or her laptop joining from Skype for Business, everybody is able to join the same meeting and collaborate seamlessly. So that is really the vision of what we're trying to achieve with RealConnect. And without further ado, let us jump into it, and I'm going to pass the baton to Takeshi.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. So when it comes to challenges around video meetings, and this is mostly consistent with the polling results that we just saw now, what we often see and hear from our customers is an inconsistent user experience or the inconsistent workflows when there are multiple technologies such as UC client and the video conferencing endpoints, possibly from multiple vendors, and they're not really designed to work together. So disparate endpoints, when you're trying to bring them together into one meeting, may require different scheduling plugins on your Outlook, or you may have to change the way you connect to the meeting, or you may have a very different user experience, even though you're using the same Skype for Business client, for instance, depending on the meetings that you connect to. So not having a uniform approach to video interrupt leads to complexity instead of ease of use. And these are challenges that affect users or end users. And to be fair, if what you're given as a collaborative tool is not easy to use and you have to think twice before scheduling a meeting, it's likely that users will stay away from it. So at an organizational level, you'll see slow rate of adoption, which is an IT problem. So from IT administrator's perspective, also you may be planning migration from on-premises infrastructure to cloud-based service such as Office 365, including the video workload in a specific time frame, like in a year or in 3 years' time, or your service contract for current video infrastructure is up for renewal soon, and you need a future-proof solution that's aligned with Skype for Business. So these are a lot of deployment considerations that have to be made. So Polycom Rail Connect solves these challenges for end users and administrators. So let's talk about what Rail Connect is. So Rail Connect is a video interop solution and first in its kind that solves a big dilemma that customers have when they have disparate video endpoints that they want to connect to the Skype for Business from, and do it in such a way that it's easy for everybody and it's intuitive and very consistent. And Rail Connect supports multiple deployment options for administrators, including on-premises infrastructure, the hybrid topology, and the Skype for Business Online for the Office 365 customers. So now let's take a look at typical Rail Connect workflow from end user's perspective. And later we will cover the administrative experience as well. And let's see how a Skype for Business meeting is enabled for video interoperability. When a meeting organizer creates a new meeting and click the Skype for Business icon, the meeting invitation is updated with a click to join link, and it may have a PSTN dial-in information. It's all dependent on the licensing that the users are provisioned with. But when the Rail Connect functionality has been enabled for the user, there is additional information for the video endpoints to connect to the meeting, and that's automatically added at the bottom of the meeting invite, as you can see here. What you're looking at is an example of Office 365 user provisioned with Rail Connect for Office 365 video interoperability service. And you can see that the join with a video conferencing device, that text, and the SIP IVR number, and dialing instruction link, etc. Right? But to get here as a meeting organizer, I didn't have to change anything. So there's nothing different from what I would normally do. So you just have to click the Skype icon, and you invite people and add rooms, and you just send the invite out. So it's completely the same workflow as before. Now, let's look at the join phase. When participants join the meeting, Skype for Business users join from the meeting link in the Outlook invite. Or if you are using Skype for Business client and go to the calendar tab, you will find the meeting and you can just click to join. The same click to join experience, or I should say more appropriately, one touch to join experience is also available to select Polycom and Cisco endpoints when the meeting organizer added rooms where these systems are set up and configured. So it's pretty simple, just one touch, and you will be connected to the same meeting. Another way to simplify the conference join experience from video conferencing system is the use of dial plan. So the administrator can configure the gatekeeper or the SIP registrar that they are using today, be it Cisco, Polycom, or otherwise, with a prefix for the Rail Connect service, so that the users only need to dial the prefix and the conference ID that you see in the meeting invite. And that dial string will resolve to the full a dial string that will get the endpoint connected to the video interrupt service, for instance. So you can simplify the user experience dramatically by enabling the dial plan. Now, for external users, these dialing methods are not typically available, but still they will see, the external users, they will see the dial instruction that gives them the exact dial string they need to dial, or they can dial the SIP IVR number that's included in the meeting invite, and then they can hit the IVR number, then enter the conference ID to get connected. So again, this simplifies the dialing experience. Now, once you join into a meeting from a Skype for Business client or video conferencing endpoint, then the video layout, the video experience, including the video layout, stays the same. You see the same conference layout. For Skype for Business client, we'll see the conference roster, and when somebody shares the content appears on the content stage area, separate from the video stream. So if you join from a video conferencing device, you will see the continuous presence view and the content from Skype for Business client or other standard-based video systems display as content too. So again, users on both Skype for Business and video conferencing system receive familiar meeting experience. There's no surprise, and you can share content across disparate devices, and even the immersive telepresence system, which sends multiple video streams from multiple codecs, appear as one complete immersive layout on the Skype for Business client, as you see at the bottom row on the Skype for Business client on this slide. So, as you can see here, RealConnect delivers video interoperability using the workflow that the users are already familiar with. So hopefully you can see why the consistent workflow and the ease of use helps end users feel more comfortable with the technology and use it more. So now let's switch the gear and look at the administrator experience. I will hand off to Adam Jacobs, who will walk you through RealConnect for Office 365 admin experience. But before that, we have another polling question. So let me go to that question now. So this is about the migration plan to Skype for Business in the cloud. So if you have a plan to Skype for Business Online, migrate to Skype for Business Online within certain time frame, please select that, or if you're already there, or if you're planning it, but doing so after more than 6 months later, or if you have no plans. So please select one of the choices that applies to you. Okay, I'll give it a minute. Okay, so let's see. Oh, almost half of you are already on Skype for Business Online. That's great. And let's see. So majority of you have a plan to migrate to Skype for Business Online. And this is pretty much consistent with our findings. Depending on different time frame, yeah, of course, and excuse me. So now, okay, so I think it's good time to hand off to Adam Jacobs, who will walk you through Office 365 based RealConnect admin experience. Adam?
Thanks, Takeshi. Let's move on to the admin experience. And before we go through the RealConnect for Office 365 admin experience, it's probably worth noting that whilst I'm going to focus on the online version of this solution, we also have hybrid and on-prem versions of it as well. But today, I'm going to now focus on the deployment and administrative experience that we have within our online service, which is only been introduced into the North American market recently in the last 2-3 weeks. So, the first thing that you'll need to do is you'll need, as an administrator, to go into the Polycom web app. And this web app is used for administration, for provisioning the service. And one of the things that we are in the process of doing is making that something which is available via the Office App Store. So what you'll do is you'll go into the Office App Store. This is we're in the process of publishing this application right now, and the App Store will then take you to our administrative web app, which is currently located at webapp.plcm.vc. So once we go to that web page, you're going to be asked for a number of things. The first thing you're going to need to sign in with your global admin user account, and this is something that your existing Office 365 administrators have access to today. Once they sign in, they'll be requested to create a partnership between Polycom and Microsoft, and the partnership is required for two reasons. The first reason is we need the ability to add a new license plan to your existing Office 365 experience. And then in addition to that, we need to be able to create and publish a unique tenant code for your Office 365 tenancy. And that's something that gets created when you sign up, and it's something that remains consistent whether you add additional licenses or remove licenses throughout the service. Once the partnership is created, you'll then be asked to enter an activation key. And the activation key is what gives you the entitlement that you purchased, or it could be a trial, which again will give you a specific entitlement. This page will be partly populated with information that we get from your existing configuration, and then in some cases you'll be asked for an admin email address, phone number, etc. Once the process is completed, you will then see within your Office 365 admin portal an existing plan which is added. And this is a very familiar experience. All of your existing plans that you have, that you're subscribed to today, will already appear. And for example, if you have an E5 plan, this is something as an administrator you can turn on and off on a per user basis. So following the same vein, we will also give you the ability as an administrator to turn on the Skype meeting video interop license. And that can be enabled for a specific user. It can then be at a later stage disabled and reallocated to another user. But at the point whereby the user is then assigned with a license, they can then create these new invitations which allow them to schedule these Real Connect for Office 365 meetings. Now, Laura talked about the partnership that we've got with Microsoft, and this project has been something that we've worked hand in hand with Microsoft on. We announced it back at an Enterprise Connect last year, and since then we've been co-developing the service. And one of the reasons why we can do what we're doing here is because we have an API that Microsoft has given us, and you can see in this diagram here the interface that we have in the middle, which allows us to communicate with Skype for Business online meetings. So at the point whereby a meeting is scheduled by a Skype for Business user and a video conferencing device joins that meeting, we use that interface that Microsoft has provided to locate where the meeting is taking place and use our Polycom Real Connect technology to join that meeting that's been scheduled. Now, for everything to be deployed and up and running, there are a number of prerequisites that you have to work through. And of course, first and foremost, you'll need to have a tenant that is in a region that is currently enabled. So we've launched in North America, which I mentioned earlier, and we are now in the process of rolling out within other regions also. So at this point, you need a Canadian or a US tenant. Shortly, we'll be rolling that out to other tenants, and you can see there's a table on the bottom right-hand side of this slide, which you can refer to. And once you've enabled your tenant, the next thing that you'll need to focus on as an administrator is ensuring that you have the right connectivity in place between your on-premises infrastructure and what we have within our Azure cloud. So we have some admin documentation which is available today, and specific ports and protocols need to be enabled, if not so already. If your organization is already making business-to-business calls from your organization to others, then there's a very good chance that all of the connectivity is already in place. And this can also be tested by dialing a test number that we have deployed, which you can see in this slide. Now, one sort of part of this whole solution is that there is an understanding that you, as an existing organization that has video deployed within your organization, you have on-prem infrastructure. So, for example, you may have Cisco infrastructure or Polycom, and that will have a dial plan which gives you the ability to dial outside of your organization. So the endpoints themselves do not need to be registered to our service. They can remain to be registered on-prem. For customers that don't have any registration, that's fine also, but you need to make sure that you can dial out externally and join one of our conferences. And as I mentioned earlier, that can be tested by dialing the test number that you see in the slide. There are a number of video endpoints that we, Polycom, currently test. We don't, as you might imagine, test every single video endpoint there is that's ever existed, but we do have a very wide variety, which we believe gives us complete or a near complete support for any type of endpoint. The endpoints that we have already published are not a list of these are the only endpoints that are supported, more these are the endpoints that we've currently tested. And in many cases, when you take an endpoint from Cisco or from Polycom, they all have a common code base across them. So in many cases, a specific model won't apply. From a Microsoft standpoint, there are also some requirements. So, for example, you need a specific version of Office 2016. It has to be the version number or higher that you see there. And this functionality is available in Microsoft's Click-to-Run version of Office 2016. We're currently working with Microsoft on Office for Mac support as well. We think that should be available in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And also Outlook Web Access is something which is coming soon. From a Polycom perspective, you'll need to obviously activate your licenses, as we discussed earlier, and assign them to users. And these can be purchased via Polycom authorized resellers. So just to recap, the steps that are associated with provisioning and enabling the service. First of all, you need to have the right plan for Office 365, and basically the requirement there is that your plan gives you the ability to do Skype for Business conferencing and scheduling. So that would be a minimum of a Skype for Business Plan 2. It could be an E3 plan. It could be an E5 plan. Next, you would need Office 2016, Click to Run, the version that we showed you earlier, and then for the future there will be Mac support also. We talked about firewall traversal, ensuring that you have the ability to dial outside of your organization, in our case, to our service hosted in Azure. And you need to ensure that your dial plan is updated and it gives you the ability to dial out. And then last but not least, you need to have the right level of bandwidth available to ensure that you get a good and consistent call quality when you join meetings. And if you're already scheduling Skype for Business meetings online today, then chances are you're already utilizing your bandwidth right now for your Skype meetings, because when those meetings are scheduled, they're obviously external and outside your organization and being hosted more specifically in Skype for Business Online. So last but not least, there is and will be immediate trials available very soon. But right now, if you can contact us via this email address that you're seeing, we will be able to give you, if you're based in North America, trials that last 30 days. So this will give you a license, which gives you up to 5 user licenses for 30 days. And you can go ahead, provision your tenant, and assign them to users and test the service now. So I'd absolutely recommend you do that. If for example, you're not already in Skype for Business Online and you'd want to try the service, you can also go ahead and create a test E5 tenant via Microsoft, and then utilize our 30-day free trial against your trial tenant also. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Laura. And Laura, I'll let you take over and talk a bit more about self.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yeah, so this 30-day trial, I would just say, is a great way to get started. So the same requirements apply that Adam spoke to in terms of the customer requirements, in terms of Office 2016 and the variety of other things. But if you do have all of those in place, then you're a great candidate for this, and we will get you started right away. So please contact us. So if you're overwhelmed by any of this or feel like you want to participate in a video interoperability solution, but you need a partner to help you get there, Polycom can be that partner. Polycom Partners can be that partner. We as a company adhere to Microsoft's Skype operations framework. This is a methodology put forth by Microsoft to ensure that customers have a successful migration to the cloud. So it includes planning, delivering, and ultimately operating a Skype for Business environment, and Microsoft maps out all of the different required steps that a partner has to take to enable a customer to have a proper experience. And so this is a methodology. There is a training at play that Polycom has passed, and you have to do a variety of things in order to be a certified soft partner, which Polycom is. And so we offer a variety of different services for customers that are at different places in their journeys to Skype for Business Online, whether you're looking to advance your cloud PBX or PSTN conferencing, or in this case, Real Connect. We have a variety of different offerings in all stages of the Skype operations framework plan in order to help you on your way. These can be things like network assessment or testing your endpoints or creating an adoption plan for internal use. So whatever your need is, we can work with you to ensure that you have a successful move forward to the cloud. So that is the content for today. We have a variety of things for you to download from our website. They will be linked to this sheet, so you will get them shortly after the webinar. We have a 3-part video interoperability series that is running off of our website, which includes an analyst, Jim Lundy's take on what is going on in the industry that is driving the need for video interop, as well as an outline of the solutions that Polycom has, including Real Connect. So we thank you. We encourage you to sign up for a free trial if you are a good candidate for this. And stay tuned. There are a lot more details of everything coming. The resources are available right through this portal, actually, on the left-hand side, so feel free to download them directly from here. And we do have some time to answer a few questions. So let's get started right now. Adam, can you start us off by telling folks a little bit more about how Real Connect would play into a group series environment versus an HDX environment versus another standards-based endpoint environment.
Sure. Thanks, Laura. Group series endpoint has native support for Skype for Business on premises today. We are in the process of working with that for Skype for Business Online also. When it comes to an HDX does not support Skype for Business. So the difference there would be that you could take an HDX and make it interoperable with Skype for Business Online by using Real Connect in the same way you could with a Cisco endpoint also. Some organizations like the idea of using group series in the same way. Others opt for the native registration. So again, the group series becomes like a native endpoint which can join meetings just like another Skype for Business user could.
Perfect, thank you. There are quite a few questions in here around pricing. So we did not go over pricing specifically on this webinar, but we do have pricing available. I will give you a sense of how the pricing works. Essentially, it's a tiered pricing based on number of users, and it's based on a per user per month basis. So for example, if you have under 500 users, then you're going to be in the ballpark of around $6.81 per user per month for that license. As you go up in terms of the number of users enabled for Real Connect for Office 365, the price per user goes down. So if you are around 4,000 to 5,000 users, your price per user per month drops down to around the $2 mark. So there's a wide range as you move up. We certainly can provide you with more details on that. If you are interested in getting something priced out for your environment specifically, please email Team Microsoft at polycom.com, and we will have someone be in touch with you to work through your specific environment. Okay.
I've got a question here, Laura.
Please.
Maybe I can take, which talks about content sharing. So can you share content from a video endpoint that's using H323, SIP, and can that content be sent also and received by Skype for Business clients and mobile apps? And the answer is yes. We have two-way content from Skype and from the endpoints themselves. So you can use, your in-room cable if you wanted to connect it to your computer. All those, if you have existing wireless sharing capabilities via those endpoints, that works as well. Content today is sent as a desktop or received as a window. We use two protocols that Microsoft have for sharing. One is the remote desktop protocol, and then the other is the video-based screen sharing. When we use the video-based screen sharing, we can get a higher frame rate, up to 15 frames a second at lower bandwidth than we could previously using the remote desktop protocol.
Excellent, thank you. Takeshi, I see a lot of questions in here around licensing. Who needs the licenses when you're deploying Real Connect for Office 365?
Sure. So the licenses are required for anybody who needs to schedule video interrupt enabled meetings. So if you want to send out the invite with all the additional information for video conferencing endpoints to join, then you need to be licensed. Now, anybody who is going to join to that meeting, they do not have to be licensed. So even if you're an internal user or if you're an external user who's invited to the video interrupt enabled meeting, the Real Connect enabled meeting, they do not need to be licensed.
Great, thank you. Adam, did you have something to add? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm happy to go through others. I know there's a number of other questions, but I'll let you lead that, Laura.
I see some questions in here around what's required on-prem. So can you speak to how Clarity fits into this and how the on-prem/hybrid deployments work as well?
So yeah, so from an on-prem standpoint, if you're using Real Connect for Office 365, there is no prerequisite for anything on-prem. But I mean, I was talking to a customer earlier today, and they didn't even have any gatekeeper or registrar on-prem. They just had standalone endpoints that could dial out to the internet. In their case, they were using the service, and they didn't need anything additional on-prem, and they didn't want anything else on-prem. In most cases, customers will have some sort of registration and dial plan on-prem. That can be kept as is, so there's nothing additional needed there. If you're looking at a hybrid deployment or an on-prem deployment, then obviously we also have an on-prem solution also, which will cater for those needs.
Beautiful, thank you. Next question, Takeshi. I see some questions in here around international participants in a Real Connect call. So if an organization maybe is based in the U.S. but has international participants, do they have to wait for an international rollout? What's their story?
No, they don't have to wait. As long as the company has a tenant in the U.S. and be able to subscribe to the Rail Connect service, right? Then any endpoints, standard-based endpoints that need to connect to the meeting hosted on Skype for Business Online will connect to our data center in the U.S., but they will be able to join the meeting. It's just that the endpoint in overseas will be connected through the data center in North America.
Thanks, Takeshi. Adam, do you want to speak to the license requirements from the Skype for Business side? I see someone asking about E5 versus E3 license.
Yeah. So both work. There is, even if you don't have an E3, you can go for an E1 with a Plan 2 Skype for Business license also. The other thing that I've seen coming up around licensing in the questions is, do I need PSTN dial-in conferencing? Or there was another question which was, I have PSTN dial-in conferencing, but it's not from Microsoft. So the first answer is you don't need PSTN dial-in conferencing for this service. We give you a conference ID which is specific to the Real Connect for Office 365 scheduled meeting. Now, if you do want to bring PSTN dial-in audio participants into those meetings, then obviously you need to subscribe to a license. And that license can be something you subscribe to from Microsoft, or it could be from one of their partners. So I know that some people use PGI or AT&T, which are some of the other partners that are available. So it's really very flexible. You don't need an E3, you don't need an E5, you don't need PSTN dial-in conferencing. But you'll obviously need the ability to register as a Skype for Business user and schedule meetings, which typically is a bare minimum requires a Plan 2.
Perfect, thank you. A question in here, if we have group series and we're waiting for it to directly connect with Office 365, can Real Connect be used in the meantime to connect it? In
Yeah, it can. And there's another question here about group series also, which is in fact group series and other endpoints. Does this service support one-touch dial? And just for those that aren't aware, one-touch dial is a facility that we have which allows you to send your Skype for Business invites to an endpoint that is not supported or registered to Skype for Business. So an example could be a Cisco endpoint. And we have today an on-prem solution which translates the invite and allows you to come into a meeting room and just click the calendar and join the meeting. And something which is coming very soon is the ability to run that one-touch dial service within Azure. So there's a multi-tenanted version of that which we're currently working on that will be also included within this solution. So just to reiterate, for those that are find remote controls quite daunting, which is definitely definitely very common, there will be the ability to invite your room system into the meeting, the Skype for Business meeting, and then come into the room and then just click the existing calendar, which via one button will allow you to join that Real Connect for Office 365 and Skype for Business online meeting.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we have time for one more question, and it's around how many endpoints can participate in a Real Connect call?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So right now, it's probably just a level set. It's probably worth understanding the limitations in a Skype for Business online call. So today, prior to moving the call to Skype for Business broadcast, you can support up to 250 participants within a meeting. So we join the meeting in the same way other Skype for Business users join. Although each VTC is treated as a Skype for Business client, if you like. So when we join the meeting, we join as a Skype participant, and that restriction of 250 users is applicable. Now, with your license comes a restriction also around how many concurrent video endpoints you can join into the meeting. And right now, that's something which is measured at around a sort of 10% utilization. So, for example, if you have 100 licenses, then that would give you the ability to have up to 10 endpoints concurrently connected within your tenant. Now, that's something which is not a hard limitation. So if you go over that, that's fine. You can go over it. And you can burst up, and that won't incur any additional charges. In fact, the technical limitation right now is specifically tied to the amount of licenses, the total number of licenses that you have in your organization. But the terms of service for the solution is typically around the 10% plus mark.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, there are a couple more questions in the queue that we will handle after the webinar because they pertain to an individual's environment. So I'd like to thank everybody once again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure from our side, and you will receive a follow-up email after this. But until the next one, we really appreciate your partnership as we move into this video interoperability world. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.